Good morning. Abstinence, experience, strength, and hope from members of how about Overeaters Anonymous? We're going cold today, so this one is entitled The Abstinence Advantage. Abstinence is the most important thing in my life today, without exception. It hasn't always been. I've managed or maintained a 65-pound weight loss since coming to OA 3.5 years ago. In spite of many ups and downs with abstinence, recently I was once again humbled by my addiction to food, especially sweets. I now know that no matter what does or doesn't happen, today will be a successful day if I remain abstinent. I can say that because I realize more than ever that only when I am abstinent and free from my overwhelming obsession with food am I able to put other things in my life in perspective. When my focus is on food, everything else is out of focus. I used to cringe when I heard people say that abstinence was the most important thing in their lives. More important than God? I thought that was blasphemy. Now I realize that unless I am abstinent, I can't put God first. When I'm overeating, food becomes my God. I worship it and trust it to make things better. When I am abstinent, I put my trust in God and I am free to live the rich, full life God has in mind for me. Sometimes, however, I still forget why it is so important for me to abstain from sweets and from overeating. I've spent the last 3.5 years since coming into OA experimenting with various eating plans in an effort to define my own personal abstinence. I've proven over and over beyond a shadow of a doubt that when I eat sweets, my obsession with food returns and my compulsion takes over my whole life. Even though I know I can be free from the misery that accompanies my obsession simply by abstaining, I still find myself rationalizing and trying to justify eating just this one sweet thing. Why? Because at least where food is concerned, I'm not sure. A major symptom or characteristic of my disease is recurring episodes of insanity. During these attacks, I forget the pain and misery of compulsive overeating and lose sight of the reasons for abstinence. Abstinence suddenly seems silly or impossible or overrated. I think, what's the big deal about abstinence? Later, of course, after I've given in to the urge to overeat, my sanity returns and I realize the price I have paid for once again having given in to my disease. Knowing that I am subject to insanity regarding food, I am learning to talk to myself through these situations. I tell myself, right now, abstinence doesn't seem very important, but that's because of the insanity. I have temporarily forgotten I am a compulsive overeater and have lost sight of the reality of my disease. But somewhere inside me, a tiny, soft-spoken voice, the sane part of me, assures me that remaining abstinent really is the most important thing I can do today. Maybe I don't feel like abstinence is very important at that moment, but it is essential that I remember that feelings can't always be trusted. I must listen to the little voice of sanity, however weak it may be. I must trust that in time the insanity will pass, and I will once again remember why abstinence is so vital. Now that I am more aware of the nature of my insanity, perhaps I can learn to recognize the early warning signs before the episode become full blown. Maybe I can better recognize the distorted thinking that accompanies these attacks. And maybe it will become easier for me to listen to the quiet voice inside of me. Perhaps the voice will become stronger each time I listen to it. This disease will be with me all my life, and I presume I will always be subject to these recurring episodes of insanity. But there is a method of treatment. The big book tells me the good news. There is a solution. There is a way of living which allows me to have a daily reprieve from my illness as long as I work the steps and am willing to do whatever it takes to recover. And this is from a member in Sylacauga, Alabama. I've never heard of that town, and I'm certain that I didn't pronounce it correctly. Yeah, daily reprieve if we work the steps. So that's the implication of working the steps daily. And I'm in that process right here, right now, of working my steps in the beginning of my day, the best part of my day, the most spiritually connected part of my day, the most relaxed part of my day, so that I connect in and I make an acknowledgement that I am a compulsive overeater and that I have a God, and I ask God for help, surrender my will, and commit to doing God's will today, which is to abstain. It's super simple. And then I do a 10th. I look over yesterday. Do I owe any amends from yesterday? I'm grateful that I played a hockey game that I didn't harm anybody out there. I didn't do anything blatantly offensive with my stick or with my body or with my mouth. Played a good game. And we lost, but it was a great game. It was a good game. And did fellowship after. It was really nice to fellowship with my brother and with another player. So the three of us had a really nice lunch after the game. That was nice. Um, yeah, and I really only ate 2 meals yesterday, but they were two hearty meals that were they were enough. And I food prepped for today. So, and I will write down what I'm going to do today. Do a reasonable breakfast, reasonable lunch, reasonable dinner, nothing in between. I am committed to no eating in between these meals, no sampling at work, nothing in the break room. Today's Friday. There's always food in the Friday break room always has food. It's fruit. You know, they're trying to do something good. And I will occasionally take a pear, but I won't eat it because it's not on my food plan. I'll put it in the bag and I let it soften and eat it in a day or two because it is free. That is one of my biggest triggers with um, trigger foods is if it's free or if it's on a super deal. That is such a trigger for me. I think I'm saving money, so yeah, this is great. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Anyways, oh my god, okay. Have a great day. Have an abstinent day.